victory over the Bears last week. Irv, they're in a battle with 4 other AFC teams for a wild card spot. It's a big one for them.
Well, it is a big one. They're playing this game like it's a playoff game, Tim, because they want to keep their wild card hopes alive. They can see the remaining schedule right here now. It looks pretty soft, and everybody in town is saying, well, the Miami Dolphins ought to back into the playoffs at this schedule. But Don Shula said, look, I can only be concerned about one game, and that's this one, and I don't consider that a soft schedule. I have respect for all of those teams.
Well, the Buccaneers, of course, can't be thinking about playoffs at all, but for Vinny Testaverde, a homecoming here where he played at the University of Miami, kind of a special day for him. He's never played against the Dolphins.
Well, it's a special day, but he's a little embarrassed, he said, by coming in here with a team with such a bad record. But I also know that he's also personally embarrassed about his own performance. He's ranked at dead last as the quarterback in the National Football League, throwing 4 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. And he said this weekend will be a little different, though, than most football weekends, Tim, because normally he'd be in his room on Saturday night studying his playbook. Because he has so many friends and relatives here, he was out Saturday night entertaining people.
Well, Bucs fans hope he's going to be entertaining them this afternoon. And, of course, we on CBS hope it's an entertaining game for you. For the Buccaneers to come in here, it's something they don't want to see up on the screen. On the road against AFC teams, a dismal record, 17 consecutive defeats, and Richard Williamson may or may not be cognizant of that. For him, each game is an important one as speculation continues about his future as coach. The Dolphins, on the other hand, have been beating up on NFC teams since they moved into Joe Robbie from the Orange Bowl. They haven't lost. 7-0, perfect mark against teams from the National Conference. Miami will be receiving the football, and we're a little behind on the schedule, as you can tell. 82 degrees here. Some cloud in the area, and it is otherwise a perfect day for football, Florida style. A slight breeze out there on the field should keep the players cool enough. Not a sellout crowd, as you can see in that shot. That has been a bone of contention among the Dolphins and their fans. Some of the Dolphin players are saying, they're real fair weather fans. I don't know how you can be a foul weather fan in Miami.
Not only that, they said, they would like to see the fans coming here across, obviously, the full house and stand up and cheer their football team. And they don't feel they're getting that. They're getting mixed emotions from their fans here, and they like to have them get behind them.
Be more involved. Well, you saw Mark Logan and Mark Higgs back to receive the kickoff from Christie, and Christie nails a line shot right through the end zone. So the Dolphins will start from the 20-yard line, and we're underway. Dan Marino brings on the Miami Dolphins offense, and Mark Clayton, his star receiver, had a big catch last week, has been in the hospital the last 2 nights with a flu, and I know you had a chance to talk to him down on the field.
I did. He has a real husky voice right now, Tim. He has a hard time breathing. He was in the hospital on a respirator, and he had IV fluids given to him, and right now he's weak. His chest is congested. He has a hard time breathing, but he's going to go as long as he can.
All right, Farrell Edmonds gets a start at tight end. He's just been back the past couple of weeks, part-time duty, coming off an injury, and Mark Higgs replaces Sammy Smith at running back. No surprise there, and on first down, Higgs gets about 4 yards. Tony Covington, the rookie strong safety, made the stop. Roderick Thomas around the ball as usual. He leads the Bucs in virtually every category defensively except interceptions, having an outstanding year, and has kept his attitude up despite all of the problems the Bucs have had. Dexter Manley for the injured Seals on the left defensive end with Newton, Davis, and McCants. Murphy, Solomon, and Thomas the linebackers. And the secondary with those 2 rookies, Marty Carter and Tony Covington. Carl Carter returns from an ankle injury on the right corner. Higgs for about 3 to the 28-yard line, and he's stopped by Reuben Davis. It'll leave 3rd down and a long 2.
You're looking at Higgs right now, Tim, as a starting running back because he's taking Sammy Smith's spot, who had trouble handling the ball. He's coughed it up several times with fumbles, but this guy, Higgs, is very impressive. He's an explosive runner. You can see not very tall, 5'7", 195 pounds, but he has tremendous jumping ability. In the combine, when the scouts tested him as a rookie coming out, he had a vertical leap of 43 inches. That's a record that still stands.
And Higgs, he just stands 5'7". Well, on 3rd and 2, extra blockers in, and they give a big hole to Higgs, who breaks loose. Fumble. Buccaneers have it at the 47-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. What irony. Higgs' first big play of the game, and he coughs it up, getting the start because of fumble problems by Sammy Smith. Murphy came up with a loose ball.
Unfortunately for the Miami Dolphins, Tim, it's a great effort here. He's hitting the hole and breaks off of tacklers and breaks free. Now he's in a sprint. Now all he wants to do is gain as much yardage as he can, but here comes Ricky Reynolds making a smart play on the ball. Again, the ball towards the defender, not away from it. Slapped it out of his hand, forcing the fumble. No, he did turn it away. Sent his left hand away from the defender, but Reynolds just makes an outstanding play. Really a tough break for the Dolphins.
So on first down, Reggie Cobb stopped at the line of scrimmage, got maybe a yard. Brian Cox, rookie linebacker, with Jeff Frost, the defensive end, on the tackle for Miami. Vinny Testaverde has never played against the Dolphins, and he comes in here with a record undistinguished for the season. As Irv Cross pointed out, he's just under 50% passing. And his offensive front, Gruber, McHale, Mayberry, Beckles, Rob Taylor, and Ron Hall, the tight end. Taylor and McHale, two veterans, getting back into the lineup about a month ago. Cobb and Wilson, the running backs. Carrier and the rookie Lawrence Dossie from Florida State on the wide receiver. Cobb plows for about 3 yards. It'll leave 3rd down and 5 for the Buccaneers at the Dolphins' 42. Cox and Reichenbach on the tackle. Lewis Oliver leading the Dolphins defense at safety. He's their leading tackler with 68, 57 solo tackles. The youngster out of Florida playing very well this year. Turner, Chuck Klingbeil getting the start at nose tackle for the injured Alfred Oglesby. Griggs, Odom, Reichenbach, and Cox the linebackers. Bestie Jackson and J.B. Brown on the corners. Oliver is joined by Bobby Harden, taking over for the injured Williams at safety. From the shotgun, Testaverde's first pass complete to Carrier. First down, Tampa Bay, to the 35-yard line of Miami.
It's really a big play for Carrier, Tim. It seems like a fairly simple play coming in motion. You'll see him break to the outside here, and Testaverde hits him right on rhythm here, making the catch for the first down. But Carrier had a big discussion with Coach Williamson a few weeks ago after he let Chris Chandler go on waivers, and he came in and wanted to know why he wasn't more involved in the offense. And the coach said, look, you're not doing any things now you did last year. You used to be a great practice player. People used to come to practice just to see you work out. We need that effort again. And he's starting to get back to it.
First down for the Bucs. They switch to the I formation. Out for Cobb, hit immediately. Brian Cox, the linebacker, read that. A somewhat ill-advised pass by Testaverde, I thought, because you could see the linebacker coming up on Cobb. He's lucky he didn't drop it.
That's the key, Tim. You can see Testaverde never really looked up to the defense. Cox, on the very first snap, when the ball was snapped, his first step was forward. He was coming up to take the receiver one-on-one all the way. This guy, by the way, is a real big-time hitter. He's from East St. Louis, Illinois, and a kid who comes from a pretty tough background. He'll talk about it pretty openly, but he loves playing football, and Don Shula is simply ecstatic about him.
3rd round pick out of Western Illinois. 2nd down and 15, a loss of 5. Good protection for Testaverde, can't find a man. Now he does. Good catch by Hall, the tight end, against close coverage from Bestie Jackson, number 24. 17-yard gain and a good pass by Testaverde to the tight end Hall.
This is one of the things they need, Tim. Ron Hall has been fairly quiet this year in the Buccaneer offense because of assorted injuries. But when he's healthy, he, in my opinion, is one of the top tight ends in pro football. Here he works his way across the middle on a curl pattern, keeps working until he finds the open spot and makes the catch. Big target, good speed, outstanding blocker.
Ron Hall, 5-year man out of Hawaii. Saw his alma mater nearly upset Notre Dame last night. First down. Complete to Dossie. And Dossie again against tight coverage. The ball right on the money from Testaverde. J.B. Brown was tracking him pretty well there. That was just a fine play by the Bucs.
Great play by the Bucs, because in the coach's estimation, this guy is the toughest football player he has on a team. He's more like a defensive player. He likes to go inside. You can see the catches right now. He leads top rookies in the league right now with 558 yards. But he likes going inside, jumps through a wall. Doesn't have great speed, but he's fast enough. He's the kind of a guy, Tim, who just gets open.
36 catches coming into the game, leading the team ahead of Mark Carrier for reasons you explained to us there a moment ago. First down. Testaverde 4 of 4 on this opening drive. Cobb. Nowhere. Maybe a yard. Thrown back by Klingbeil, the nose tackle. The 5th starting nose that the Dolphins have had to use because of injuries. Well, in other sports news today, France with a big upset of the United States. Guy Forget defeating Pete Sampras in 4 sets today. And it's their first victory since the Musketeers days of 1932. So much happiness in France today. Their Davis Cup champions winning in Lyon. The match between Agassi and Lecomte now has no meaning. Testaverde, incomplete. Intended for Hall, who wants an interference penalty against Griggs, the linebacker, but none forthcoming.
I'll tell you what the Buccaneers ought to be concerned about is number 51. Vinny Testaverde, when he threw that ball, had his back turned. This is one of the problems on the left side of the offensive line. He must protect there. Here comes 51. Brian Cox got free and slaps him down. Now, Testaverde was a little shaken with that hit.
Griggs, I believe, was the linebacker who had the coverage on Hall, and the linebacker Cox putting the hit on Vinny. So the linebackers did a good job, both sides of the ball. 4-7 defense in now on 3rd down, the passing situation. And it's complete to Dossie again, and Testaverde again very accurate, quick release that time, and Dossie makes another good catch. They're down to the 2-yard line, close to a 1st down.
You never want to make an overstatement about a player, Tim, but when you talk to the Miami Dolphins coaching staff about Vinny Testaverde, the things they're most concerned about are, 1, his ability to throw inside, the quick post, and the seam patterns. Does it very well. You see the ball like a dart right in there, and his ability to escape and run when he feels pressure.
They're measuring here for the 1st down, and they are short by about a foot. Now that brings up 4th down. Now for Williamson, you see the signal, they're going for it. You would think they've just got to go for everything the way their season's going for them.
Yeah, right. They don't have a choice. I mean, they have to go for everything they possibly can, gamble, come out with some creative plays if at all possible, do something to try to offset and disturb the Miami Dolphins.
10th play of this drive following the fumble recovery by Murphy. Cobb, touchdown, Reggie Cobb. An impressive opening series by the Buccaneers, and particularly for Vinny Testaverde. You got to feel good about that performance for him here in Miami. His first start against the Dolphins. And Cobb walked in with some good blocks from McHale and Wilson.
Looked like an unusual alignment on the goal line, Tim. And from here, it looked like the Buccaneers might have had 8 people on the line of scrimmage and only 3 in the backfield. But we'll take a look at it.
Christie for the point after. And he has it. So early in the first quarter, 7:49 remaining. The score, the Bucs 7, the Dolphins nothing.
Here's a touchdown. It's an illegal procedure because you have 8 men on the line of scrimmage. You can only have 7. Watch the play here now. Number 89, your left wing right there, should have been in the wing back position in the backfield, but instead he's lined up on the line of scrimmage. Therefore, gets an advantage on the outside linebacker. It's a cakewalk.
He made a big play, good block on it, Anderson, from what was supposedly the wingback position. It looked like he did fudge up there a little better, didn't he?
It looked to me like he was in the line of scrimmage.
And Wilson made a real good block, leading Cobb into the end zone. And Christie just nailed that kickoff all the way off the back wall behind the end zone. So the Dolphins will start. 7:44 to go, first quarter. Tim Ryan with Irv Cross. The Dolphins trailing 7-0. Mark Higgs coughing up a fumble on the opening Dolphins series. And the Bucs smartly taking it downfield. A 1-yard touchdown run by Reggie Cobb from the 20-yard line. Marino flushed and off for Page, his release man, but he was well covered by Murphy, the linebacker, and it's incomplete. Well, Sammy Smith hoping to get an opportunity to play in this game, number 33 with the helmet on. Benched this week by Don Shula following his fumbleitis. And the irony, as we commented earlier, the guy replaces him, Mark Higgs, fumbles on the opening series, and it leads to a Tampa Bay touchdown.
It's really been a big story here about his fumbling. We'll develop it as we go along. And, he's trying to take it all in stride.
Number 1 pick in '89 from Florida State. A lot invested in that young man. 2nd and 10, Miami. Higgs Breaks right up the middle and gets good blocking for a gain of about 7 before Murphy finally hauls him down. Tony Martin comes on along with number 82, Scott Miller. They'll go to 4 wide receivers here on 3rd down and 3. Tight end Edmonds comes out along with the running back Higgs when the Dolphins go to this set.
Tim, if you're on the Tampa Bay defense right now, you look very closely at number 11, Jensen, in the backfield. He's made a lot of key 3rd down plays for the Dolphins.
Brunell and Fullington in defensively. And the pass is caught off the right side by Tony Martin. Second-year man from Mesa, Colorado. 1st down, Dolphins. Carter and Frizzell made the tackle.
Tony Martin seeing some action in his 4 wide receiver set. This guy has tremendous speed, Tim. This is basically a timing pattern, though, where he's waiting for an area to clear out. And once the zone clears, when the linebacker moves out of there, Marino hits him right in the numbers.
Carl Carter back on the right corner following an ankle injury. Last week, Alonzo Hampton, the second-year man free agent, played there and got burned badly by the New York Giants. 1st down, Dolphins. Play action. Sideliner complete. Duper, 1st down, Dolphins. Into Buccaneer territory at the 44-yard line.
That's the kind of a pattern, Tim, that drives the defensive back crazy. Marino threw that ball before Duper went into his break. They have such great timing between the two of them. Duper, of course, on the other side, Clayton, hopefully he'll be able to see some action. He's had that flu problem. He's in there now. But those guys have incredible timing between themselves, Tim, and it's been going on for years.
15 more yards for Duper. He had 7-11 coming into the season on 43 catches. Coming into the game, pardon. 1st down. Marino with time, intended for Page out of the backfield, incomplete. A little bit high. Page had a hand on it, couldn't bring it in. Pretty good receiver, Page. 39 catches so far this year.
He's a good receiver, Tim, but they really brought him in here for his blocking ability. They call him the total package. He does it all. He's a great blocker. He just, as you said, a good receiver, and does everything Don Shula wants in this offense. And he was surprised that Detroit had him on their Plan B list unprotected. What a find for the Dolphins.
Exactly the kind of guy Shula was looking for to block for Higgs and Smith. 2nd and 10. Edmonds in at tight end now. The Beatty party has come in for Edmonds. And Marino is sacked. Back in Dolphin territory. 4 Buccaneers breaking in. Tim Newton off the nose. Manley, McCants, a real charge.
What the Buccaneers do, Tim, is that on their first step, they're coming upfield. They want to penetrate. The whole thesis behind this Buccaneer defense that Floyd Peters has put in is penetration. Get to the quarterback. You very seldom see a team be led in the pass rush with their nose tackle. Tim Newton, the guy who breaks through first, creates all the havoc, makes the sack.
4 sacks on the year for Newton, a 10-yard loss for the Dolphins. 3rd down, about 21. And it's almost caught by Miller. Incomplete. Scott Miller, a rookie from UCLA, as Marino went downtown.
They're taking a close look at this. They still haven't said it wasn't caught, Tim, but watch this effort to catch the ball. Number 82, Scott Miller, extending himself as far as possible. It's on his hands. Never, well, it touched the ground right there. Bounced off the ground. It's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, now there was a signal from one official.
But Tim,
incomplete.
They're giving it to him. That's an incomplete pass.
My goodness.
Well, we'll have to review that. They have to review it. The ball actually bounced off the ground when he hit the ground. And Marino wants to get a play called right away.
Well, if it sticks, it's a 34-yard gain.
Oh, boy, it's incomplete. Watch the ball hit the ground.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, the ball hits the ground.
It's a terrific effort by Miller to one-hand it.
One hand, but the ball's bounces off the ground, then he brings his hand up and catches it. But it's a great effort on his part to try to come up with that catch. Almost as good as Clayton's catch in Chicago.
The play was ruled a completed catch on the field, and it's being reviewed.
Dave Hawk is the replay official here today. And, when I called it live, Irv, I could see it hit the ground, and I didn't think there was any question about it being a catch. But it certainly, you could see Miller get his hand underneath the ball, but you could see the ball hit the ground.
Yeah,
so.
there was a tremendous effort on his part. He had his hand on the ball, and as he came to the ground, of course, it just bounced up and he cradled it. But what an effort.
Well,
if he had gotten both hands on it, of course he couldn't because he stretched so far, but had he gotten both hands on it, he would have come up with the catch.
15% of the time this year they've had reversals, which only goes to reinforce the high percentage of time the guys on the field are correct.
Where did you see that stat? 15% of the time they've had reversals.
Well, we just had it up there.
Was it up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, it just reinforces my view on this standing around time we're doing
After
here.
further review, the play is ruled an incomplete pass.
Well, I know the fans here won't like it, but it was incomplete. He just made an outstanding effort to try to come up with the ball. Scott Miller, watch this now again. It's extending himself with one hand on the ball. He has the ball right here, but as it hits the ground, you'll see it bounce up there. It bounces up right into his arm. Great effort, though. Unbelievable effort. Terrific athletic move.
Meanwhile, we're back with a 4th down now for the Dolphins. The line of scrimmage back at their 47-yard line. Reggie Roby into punt. And a fair catch signal by Willie Drury at the 11-yard line of the Tampa Bay Bucks. So when we return to Joe Robbie Stadium, 4:26 remaining first quarter. Well, there's a look at Sammy Smith on the bench of the Miami Dolphins. And Mark Clayton, number 83. And Clayton last week made this brilliant catch, slipping down on the turf at Soldier Field and somehow coming up with a football. And Mark had a great line about it later. He said, you know, it came down where I happened to be lying around. Well, not exactly. He made a great catch.
Terrific catch.
And we saw Miller almost come up with another big one here for Miami. Reggie Cobb on first down for the Bucks. Gets it out to the 14-yard line. Gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Interesting enough, Tim, the Miami Dolphins play basically a 3-man front. And when you see that, most people feel, well, you play a soft defense, you're giving up a lot of holes there. Not so here, because even though they're in a 3-man front, they're sometimes in the gap. You can see the nose tackle now slightly shaded over the center, and they come upfield in their first step. They want to penetrate just the way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do in their defense.
And the Bucks sweep it to the right with Cobb. Had a hole briefly, and it was closed down nicely by the linebacker Griggs, and the nose tackle Klingbeil ranging out, making the initial contact.
Here's a guy who's starting for the first time, number 99, Klingbeil, on over the center here at nose. And he said that one of the things he does to sort of get himself set is to look on the center's helmet to try to see whether or not he's going to be, which direction he's going to go. He played hockey in Canada. He was a Canadian kid who wanted to be a hockey player.
Went to school in northern Michigan. 3rd down and 3. A lot of time for Testaverde. Now he runs out of it, and he is sacked. Ball loose, but play whistle dead. It was Griggs, the linebacker. But the Buccaneers offensive line had done the job. He couldn't find anybody open downfield.
And a lot of time, and again, Tim, I would call this a coverage sack. Again, the secondary did a good job there, not finding anybody open. Griggs finally breaking down his man, coming up and making the sack. But Testaverde had plenty of time to deliver it. Just couldn't find anybody open upfield.
5th sack of the year for linebacker David Griggs. Mark Royal standing in the end zone to punt. Scott Miller waiting for it. The Dolphins. And it's taken by Miller at the 45-yard line. He's got some room. Miller into Bucks territory to the 42. A 44-yard punt, a 10-yard return. And Miami with good field position when we return, trailing 7-0. And with Irv Cross at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers capitalizing on a fumble by Mark Higgs at the Miami 42-yard line, took it in for a score by Reggie Cobb, and they lead 7-0. However, the Dolphins, following a punt from the end zone by Royals and a good return by Miller of the Dolphins, have it first down at Tampa's 42. Higgs, huge hole. First down to the 29-yard line of Tampa Bay. Well, now for an NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. Green Bay quarterback Mike Tomczak on the rollout this way. And the best way to do it is shovel it to Sterling Sharp. 4 yards and a touchdown. The penalty was against the Falcons. The touchdown stands. 7-7 tie first quarter, Tim.
Whoa, all right. Thank you, Greg. Cute play there by Tomczak to Sharp. Tied up at 7. Big implications for Atlanta. And more so for the Saints in that game. We'll come back to it. Higgs again. Inside the 20 to the 19. Another Dolphin first down. Thomas and Marty Carter finally got him. So Higgs, who fumbled on the first series, comes up with 2 big runs in a row.
Very impressive drive here for the Miami Dolphins. Again, they're in a trips formation where you have 3 people, a receiver, a flanker, and a tight end to one side, and they simply outnumber really the defense. You can see the hole right here, the seam that develops as a result of it. Here comes Higgs, scot-free for a big gain. Again, the offensive line is doing a battered offensive line. It's kind of a patchwork offensive line for the Dolphins. Is doing a good job today.
First down, Miami. Higgs again. And Higgs picks his way to a little daylight for about 5 down to the 13-yard line. Just going back to that Atlanta Packers score tied at 7. New Orleans plays later at San Francisco. Should they win and the Falcons lose, New Orleans would clinch the NFC West. And, of course, Atlanta very much in the playoff picture themselves at 7-5 going into the game against the Pack. So we'll be tracking that score for you. Later today, you'll be watching New Orleans and San Francisco. Higgs now has 63 yards on 7 carries. Miami 2nd and 5. He's audible. Slot formation to the right. He's going over there. Complete. Duper hit by Reynolds. And it appears he has the Dolphin first down. He does. They spot the ball at the 6-yard line of the Buccaneers. First and goal.
I'd imagine what Marino saw was an opportunity to go ahead and get the quick 5 yards right away. The Buccaneers are staying pretty soft in that zone. He just took the 5 yards to the outside.
And the gun marking the end of the first quarter with the score, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7, the Miami Dolphins nothing.
Darren McCoy or Mickle? We'll have to check the replay. Tony McCoy's certainly celebrating more. Maybe it was his big paw that broke it up. And what is Florida State?
Joe Robbie Stadium, Tim Ryan and Irv Cross here at the beautiful brand new, almost brand new stadium in Miami. And there's Mark Higgs, who has had quite a start here today, recovering from that fumble on the first series. He's rolled up 63 yards and a first and goal from the 6. Higgs trying to get outside and can't do it. They're waiting for him on the corner. Solomon, the linebacker. Tim Newton, the nose tackle.
Really a great story with Higgs. Tim, you can see he's not very tall. He's only 5'7", but he has a brother who's about 6'2" or 6'3", who played pro basketball for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers. And Mark is quite proud. His brother is Ken. Mark is quite proud of the fact that he could jump higher than his brothers. I can still stuff a basketball. He has a 43-inch vertical leap. It's like a kangaroo.
Came over in Plan B to the Dolphins last year from the Eagles. Likes to remind people that he's not a rookie. He's in his 4th year in the league out of Kentucky. Marino to the corner. Touchdown, Duper. Mark Duper on Carl Carter. Remember, Carter has missed several games with an ankle injury. And Duper ran away from him.
Tim, and I think you see the result of that ankle injury, too. You'll see Carter, when his pattern develops, an out pattern where Duper just runs a short. He comes up 5 yards and breaks out at a 90-degree angle. Carter has to round it off. You can see him trailing him here. He couldn't cut back and come across at a 90-degree angle with Duper. He had to round it out. As a result, Duper beat him for the touchdown.
Stoyanovich to the point after. 42 yards in 6 plays for the Dolphins. Stoyanovich will tie it up at 7. We are just underway in the second quarter under now bright sunny skies in Miami, tied at 7.
McDonald's.
Well, the Bucs got the early lead. Reggie Cobb going in from 2 yards out after the Bucs had recovered the fumble by Mark Higgs. But Higgs since then has rushed for 63 yards, and his good rushing led to that pass to Duper from 6 yards out to tie the score. Each quarterback has had half a field to work with, leading to their touchdown drives. We'll see what happens as the Buccaneers start following this kickoff by Stoyanovich. Gary Anderson, Alonzo Highsmith, and Robert Hardy are the deep men, but Anderson standing at the goal line, number 40. And Stoyanovich not happy with the tilt of the ball on the tee. And you can see that it is a warm day as usual here in humid Miami, 82 degrees, but there's a quite pleasant breeze down there at the playing field level. Again, a deep kickoff, and Anderson will not bring it out. Both Christie and Stoyanovich have been nailing the football on kickoffs.
Take a look, Tim, at Duper's touchdown. He comes down to the goal line and breaks out of the 90-degree angle. That's very important here now. The defensive back, Carter, who's had a bad ankle and hasn't practiced for a while, is trying to come back in this game. Now watch his reaction. He'll round off his burst. He should break and come right down the line. He doesn't. See him round off in the end zone. Too late. Touchdown. Duper breaks his off at a 90. Carter couldn't do it.
So the Buccaneers, Vinny Testaverde and company at the 20-yard line, tied at 7. Early second quarter. Cobb, nowhere to go in the middle of the Miami defense. Miami with their 5th nose tackle of the season. The guy who should be there, the guy they want there, Sean Lee on injured reserve. They've had all kinds of problems with injuries on defense. And they've since lost 4 more, including Alfred Oglesby in last week's game against the Bears. So here's Chuck Klingbeil.
I tell you though, Tim, he's a pretty impressive football player. He played up in Canada for a number of years and was the most valuable player of the Grey Cup game up there. And he told us a little story about that. We'll develop it as we go along.
On second down, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Highsmith, another former University of Miami player.
We're talking about Klingbeil winning his most valuable player trophy in the Grey Cup. Yeah, okay, it was a defense. Okay, most valuable player on defense. He wound up winning a trophy and a camcorder for as a gift, as an award. This year, your guy from Notre Dame, the Rocket, won the most valuable player trophy up there in the Grey Cup game, and he won
a car.
A car. Well,
but he's an offensive player.
That's not fair. That's not fair. Defense wins championships.
Third down and 8 to go. Out of the shotgun, Testaverde gets it off, complete. And Dossie struggling, trying to get to the marker, and I believe he did. What a good effort by that strong receiver out of Florida State. And now it'll depend on the spot.
Well, at Florida State, he used to work out every day against Deion Sanders, who's now up at the Atlanta Falcons, a pretty good one-on-one receiver. This guy really is a tough football player. Tim, he's got the great mindset. He can play defense. I hope that you know what I mean. Well, he's an aggressive guy. He likes to hit. He likes to contact. He likes to go in there and get that tough yardage. I mean, he's a good one.
He dragged Bestie Jackson for the first down. Buccaneers. Testaverde again, good time, but can't find an open man. Now he does, complete. Oh, dropped by Anthony, who was wide open. And that was a real well-improvised play. What a throw by Testaverde. And Anthony, the first-year man, another Florida Stater, drops the ball.
Oh, boy.
Boy, I gave it complete. I mean,
it should have been an easy catch to make. You'll see number 85, Anthony, the lower end of your screen here. When his play breaks down, he runs an outside pattern. Now he does a smart thing. He turns up. Well, actually, he's out of bounds there. He can't come back and catch that ball. Even if he had caught it, he would have been an ineligible receiver because you cannot step out of bounds and come back and make a play unless there's a play in between. Even if he had caught it, it would have been incomplete.
Well, that's a great catch on your part. Or maybe he knew he was out of bounds. That's why he didn't bother catching it. 2nd and 10. Pressure this time. Testaverde away from it, and he hits Cobb. First down, Buccaneers.
I think Cobb dropped the ball, Tim.
Well, no, Cobb dropped it. Right you are. Incomplete.
But what a throw, though. I mean,
Testaverde is throwing the ball better today than we've seen him all season.
Well, this is the thing Mike Shula told us, who was his quarterback coach at Tampa Bay, who's under staff here now with Miami. He said that when he starts to move around, he's very accurate. Really concerned about deep passing from him, particularly inside, and we're really concerned about containing him when he runs, because that's when he is really dangerous. He's demonstrated that, but he's had some drop balls.
3rd and 10. Incomplete, intended for Dossie. He was off the mark that time. There was pretty good coverage by Chris Green, rookie defensive back from Illinois. So the Buccaneers will have to punt. But I think what you can take away from that series is that they had guys open in the Miami secondary, and they had pretty good protection for Testaverde.
They'll be back, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
that's right.
Off what we saw there.
Yeah, they had some drop balls. He could have had sizable gains, but they had drop balls that killed their drive.
Scott Miller back to receive the punt from Royals. Good kick. Miller backed up to the 23. And a pretty good return by Miller again. 46-yard punt, and he brings it back to the 34-yard line where Terry Anthony made the tackle. And we'll be right back.
Reminds you of that drive Kentucky had when they carried the ball for 18 plays 2 weeks ago. A 67-yard drive. The key there, a 4th and 8 completion from Casey Weldon to Matt Fryer, setting them up. The Seminoles had it inside the 1, but a penalty helps the Gators stave off the touchdown. FSU settles for 3. Let's check in with Steve.
You know what, guys? Timmy Polk made a great effort on that run to get there, but I tell you what, it cost him. A pulled hamstring in his left leg, and he is out. I asked Dr. Fiandelocado out until halftime when he can check him. He said, Steve, no, he is out for the day. So Timmy Polk is out. Big blow to the Gators, so somebody's going to have to step in and pick up Eddie Robinson and Carlton Miles. Let's go back upstairs.
That's really
Playoff implications coming up in our doubleheader action today on CBS Sports. The Giants at Cincinnati, Washington at the Rams, and the Saints at the 49ers. Well, they've got the fans on for the players down here. The fans don't get fans. 7-7 here in Miami. First down, Dolphins at their own 34-yard line. Marino intended for Duper, off his hands, incomplete. Now for another NFL update. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, watch Darrell Thompson and watch the hole in the Falcon defense say goodbye. 40 yards, and early in the second quarter, the Packers are taking the lead on the Falcons. It's 14-7. Tim?
Wow, that's a hurting feeling for the Falcons. They're in the playoff picture. Green Bay is not, but the Pack's been waiting a while for Darrell Thompson to do something. Nice run there. Second down and 10 from the 35-yard line. Dolphins. Marino rolls a little to the right. Out for Clayton. Clayton holds on and has a first down. Ricky Reynolds finally gets him out of bounds, but near midfield. 15-yard pass play. Clayton with the effects of the flu, 2 nights in the hospital. Breathing heavily, you told us, Irv. You thought in this muggy weather maybe he wouldn't make it through the game.
It really was. During the pregame warm-up, he was telling me about his condition. You could hear his voice is very husky. He has difficulty breathing, but he said he'd go ahead and give it his best shot. And, of course, with him, he's such a gamer. I mean, the guy on game day, you know, he has a reputation of not being a great practice player, but on Sunday afternoon and on game day, when it's time to show up, he's there and gives his best effort. And today, he's giving it everything he has.
And Clayton goes into the slot formation. Sammy Smith is in the ball game, and he spreads out wide to the right. Smith's first appearance today. And the pass is complete out the right side to Edmonds. The tight end with speed has a first down to the 31-yard line of Tampa Bay.
The Dolphins are really happy to see this guy back, Tim. Farrell Edmonds, a Pro Bowl tight end, has been hampered with a number of injuries this year. Hasn't been quite as effective as they'd hoped. They call him Tree because he's such a big target, big rangy guy. You can see him working himself in there in the hook area for the reception. But again, you know, you have to smile when you see this guy in the lineup as far as the Dolphins are concerned, because he can do so much for them. Good receiver, outstanding blocker.
6'6", 255 pounds, imposing out of University of Maryland. First down. Marino has it moving. Higgs. Higgs gets about 7 yards, wrestled out of bounds by Covington. And it'll leave a 2nd and 3 for Miami.
That was a 7-yard gain that Higgs got really basically on his own, Tim, because his left guard, Keith Sims, when he pulled to come out and lead that play, was knocked off by Tim Newton, the nose tackle, who penetrated. And, you know, Higgs just skirted back and picked up what he could and came up with the key play. But again, Tim Newton, number 96, is raising havoc up there with that offense.
70 yards already for Higgs. Marino, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Tony Martin. The ball was there for Marino. Martin didn't make the grab. Well, he had a drop there, but he only needs 109 more yards to reach 3,000 for the year, and that would be an all-time NFL record. 8 years of 3,000-yard passing for Dan Marino. 6 of 11 today. 77
really
so
amazing.
far.
It's amazing. He makes it look easy, too. We asked him the other day about his throwing and everything and the interception problems. He says, when I throw the ball, I know exactly where it's going. He has that much confidence in his ability to throw footballs.
4 wideouts in now on 3rd down. They usually will go to this package rather than 3. And he's going deep for Martin. Dropped again by Martin, who was in the end zone. A little behind him, but a catchable ball. Carl Carter had the coverage. Martin had him beat.
He should have come up with this one, Tim. Again, it would have been a lot of daylight there. He has Carter by at least a yard. Now Carter gains ground. As well, the ball hits him right on the shoulder. Should have caught it, Tim. It's right where you'd want it to be. Away from the defender where he couldn't reach it. On the outside, should have come up with a catch.
So instead, Stoyanovich will attempt a 41-yard field goal. The holder is Scott Sekiels. And it is good. 41-yarder by Pete Stoyanovich. And the Dolphins have taken the lead. 9:32 remaining. First half, it's 10-7. Miami Dolphins have taken a 10-7 lead on a 41-yard field goal by Pete Stoyanovich here at Joe Robbie Stadium. And he will kick it off. Tim Ryan with Irv Cross bringing you this interconference battle. Both quarterbacks sharp today. Marino and Testaverde both have had several drops by their receivers. But a closely contested game thus far. The Buccaneers showing spirit and spunk as they have in most games this season, despite their dismal record. 2 victories and 10 defeats. And Stoyanovich. This one comes only a yard deep, and Anderson will bring it out. Gary Anderson all the way out to the 27-yard line for the Buccaneers. Met there by Bolkar, reserve linebacker, Ned Bolkar out of Notre Dame. Well, next Saturday here on CBS, Olympic Winterfest, countdown to Algiers. Anderson, his first carry, and slicing through Jeff Cross, the defensive end, number 91, with a good play to stop him. Loss of a yard.
Terrific play. Of course, he wanted to, Coach Williamson wanted to get Anderson into the game more. He hasn't gotten much production out of him this year. He was a starting tailback a year ago, and then, of course, they moved Cobb back there. Now he's the guy getting the lion's share of the running, but he'd like to balance his running if at all possible to get Gary Anderson more involved in the running attack, Tim, because when he's going, he's quite explosive.
2nd and 11 on the 1-yard loss. Anderson into the pass pattern. They go to the tight end Hall, incomplete. Linebacker Cliff Odom had the coverage on Ron Hall. Miami's figures are better, and they have a 3-point lead as they have had 2 scoring drives to one by the Tampa Bay Bucks. Testaverde, who was hot early, has missed on his last 4, but he's had a couple of drops. Now the Dolphins in their 4-7 defense, 7 defensive backs, and that one out of bounds, intended for Drury.
That defense is forcing Testaverde to do something he doesn't want to do, Tim, because the Dolphins have two safeties in the middle of the field. They have Oliver and Aquinella back there in the middle of the field. He can't get those seam patterns. That's a pattern pretty much on the numbers or the hash marks straight up the field, but the two safeties are standing there. That's one of Testaverde's favorite pass routes, and today the Dolphins are taking it away.
So the Dolphins hold, and Royals punts again. Miller out to the 41-yard line. Again, pretty good field position for the Miami Dolphins from their own 41-yard line, and they'll have the ball when we come back. Cross here at Joe Robbie Stadium. There's Alonzo Highsmith. It's a return to Miami for him as well as for Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah. Well, he's a pretty good buddy of Mike Shula's. They went to high school together. Of course, he was born and raised in Canada because his father played pro ball up there, but he came down here, went to high school with Shula, and they became very close. As a matter of fact, as a kid, Tim, he was a water boy for the Miami Dolphins. Shula set him up with that, and he'll never forget, he said, that the year that Duper and Clayton were rookies, Coach Shula came over to him and said, son, one of these days, these two guys will be great wide receivers. Boy. He's always wanted to play for Miami, too, by the way.
Well, Coach John was right about his receivers. Higgs for about 8 to the 49-yard line. And for another NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Well, Tim, Green Bay not thinking very highly of Atlanta's playoff hopes. Watch Mike Tomczak throw the ball just as he's hit, but watch the reception by Perry Kemp. 13 yards later, back of the end zone. It's 21-7 Packers over Atlanta, second quarter, Tim.
Boy, back in Wisconsin, Greg, they must be wondering where this Packer team was all season long. They've come up with a couple of dazzling plays there against Atlanta. Second down here, 3 to go for the Dolphins near midfield. Higgs. And he gets maybe 2. It'll be third and about a yard right on the midfield stripe. Well, here at Joe Robbie Stadium, temperatures in the low 80s as the Dolphins surrendered an early lead to a touchdown by Reggie Cobb following a Mark Higgs fumble, but they've come back to lead 10-7. 7:20 remaining in the first half. Tim Ryan and Irv Cross here in Miami, and Dan Marino hollering over to the sideline to Scott Secules. Make sure that they've got the play that everybody wants. Third down and a yard. There's a little morale-boosting defensive situation for the Bucs here early in the game. And Higgs takes that away from them with a first down run to the 45-yard line. Frizzell and Reynolds stopped him, but good blocking up front and good running by Higgs. 84 yards now.
It's really a tough play, Tim. He's coming off his guard here, so he needs his left guard and left tackle to seal here. He gets a lead block, and he comes right through. Now watch this. Harry Galbraith and Mark Dennis, 62 and 74 on the right side of the offensive line, do a good job creating. Oh, there it is right there. Here comes Higgs, gets a good lead block for the first down. That's a key play, obviously, for the Miami Dolphins.
Smith. And Smith dives for what may be another first down, very close to it. Well, Sammy Smith gets his chance at redemption. And a spot of the ball looks like he'll be just short.
Want to take a look at something, Tim. He lost his starting job because of the way he holds the football as they're giving up the ball with fumbles. Now watch this time. He's hit. He gives his shoulder. He's still holding the ball. He's got his hand over the tip of the ball and squeezing it tightly to his body and hitting the defender with his free hand. Protects the football.
We've got a timeout on the field with 5:54 to go, first half.
Worry about, is Rhett going to give the ball up being stripped from the back? But no, he's not. So often you see in college and pro football today, guys getting the open field and getting stripped from behind of the football.
5 minutes to go in the first half. The Gators with a first down. Here's Rhett again, and Eric Rhett fights ahead for about 7 or 8 yards.
Larry, that's power football right there. That's in-your-face football, smash-mouth football right there. And perhaps Coach Spurrier is thinking that maybe I should go that way a little bit more often, especially with the success they're having on this drive.
Give him 8 yards to the 22. Second down and a long 2 for the Florida Gators. 4 minutes, 34 seconds to go. First half, Florida scoreless, trailing FSU 3-zip. Matthews to throw, throws it right side. Willie Jackson grabs it at the 14. Out of bounds at the 13.
Hit and coughed it up. And of course, the one last week against the Chicago Bears, he's again in scoring position, coming inside of this tackle here. The ball is hit and coughed up. Now, he's been carrying the ball in front of him most of the time. You can see the number of fumbles he had per carries. Every 24 carries, he coughs up the football. And they're trying to correct that here.
On first down, going deep to the end zone. Second try by Clayton, still incomplete. And he gives a playful slap to Carl Carter, saying, "Nice coverage, you stopped me twice in the same play."
Yeah, that's kind of neat to see that, the bouncing ball. Now watch this. Clayton's going. Carter has his hands on a great defense, but the ball's up. They're going to make a second play for it. Great defense again. I mean, it's a tremendous reaction to the football. Both of them, Tim, the reason why they're able to do that, concentrated on the football, and they didn't see anything else but leather. That's great defense and pretty good offensive play by Duper, too, or Clayton trying to make the play.
Good show of sportsmanship, too, because they both played the ball well, and Carter was the better man twice on the same play. 2nd and 10. Marino inside this time. Martin, and a Dolphin first down to the 20-yard line.
Even if you put pressure on this guy, Tim, it's hard to tackle Dan Marino. Watch how fast he gets rid of the ball. Again, he gets it out of there quickly. Quick post by Martin for the completion. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are having some coaching decisions to make here with Carter, 44 on the left corner. He's had a problem with his ankle, and it looks like it may be bothering him even now, Tim.
Now that quick release of Marino, he was Terry Bradshaw's wrist in his Robo QB in the NFL today. Keeps breaks loose. Touchdown. Touchdown for the fire plug running back, getting a starting roll back today, and has been explosive.
Boy, I tell you, this is one advantage in being short. Number 62, Harry Galbraith, has the lead block here. He does a good job. Seals, 49 pages, a good job on the outside. But I guarantee you, Tim, the linebackers and the defensive backs on the outside couldn't quite tell where Higgs was because they couldn't see him. The bigger guys had him shielded, and when he hit the line of scrimmage, there was a hole, and he was gone.
Well, apparently, we may have a replay to see whether he got into the end zone. Well, now evidently not. Looked like they were holding things up on the field, but they're now going ahead with the point after. Stojanovic. It's good, and the Dolphins have widened their lead. Mark Higgs, with a 19-yard touchdown run, goes right to the pylon, but you can see he got that ball over the plane of the goal line.
Gets the Gators in the end zone and gives Florida a 7-3 lead with 3 minutes and 11 seconds to go here in the first half. And Jim, what a great drive on the heels of that Florida State drive that took so much out of the Gator defense. Florida got a quick 3-and-out defensively and then drove down the field.
Absolutely so, as we see power football right here. Ishmael finishing off the block on the corner, but the Noles, Larry, did in fact have a 16-play drive culminating in a field goal. The Gators have a 10-play drive culminating in a big touchdown by Eric Rett, the tailback, who seems to be a bit excited.
Eric's very excited. The Gators would have had 2nd down and 10 at the 13, but there was a late hit against Florida State. Let's see if we can find it. Keep an eye on Hisham Ishmael, number 77.
And there was also a broken tackle. John Davis, who we'd complimented on this series, making excellent tackles, missed the tackle as he forced on the corner.
Well, if that shove by Sterling Palmer was the one, it wasn't the most violent.
The first Dolphin running back in a long time to get more than 100 yards in the first half. I believe Delvin Williams, last guy to do that. So he's got 103. Well, this wild and wacky playoff scenario has a lot of action going on in it today. If the Saints win later today and Atlanta loses, remember they're trailing Green Bay, Saints can clinch the NFC West. The Giants in Philadelphia, if they each win the remaining 4 games, they'd both be in. Problem is, Irv, they play each other.
That'll be tough to have them come up with 4 victories. Like you see the rest of the schedule here, the Giants at Cincinnati and Washington, the Rams, and New Orleans at San Francisco. But I think we'll talk about that a little later, but I think the Giants have the toughest road to hoe there because they play not only Philadelphia, but Washington as well, too, Tim. How can they win 4?
That'll be tough. Reggie Cobb stopped by Turner on first down after a gain of about 2. And the Tampa Bay Bucks, who scored first in this game following the Higgs fumble, setting them up at the Miami 42 and marching it in with a very impressive drive, have been stymied since. That's complete. Lawrence Dassey, first down out to the 37-yard line. 14-yard gain. Well, Dolphins fans most interested in this scenario. Buffalo, a win or a tie today, would give them the AFC East title. Cleveland would be knocked out with a loss or a tie today. Houston could clinch the AFC Central with a Cleveland Brown loss and a Houston victory. First down on the 35-yard line, 36. Reggie Cobb, and he may have another Tampa Bay first down. Brian Cox, the linebacker, number 51, made the tackle.
Really a nice run on Cobb's part, Tim. Was a lag draw or lead draw, some people call that, where he has to follow his lead blocker through the hole. And he really did a real good job up front with the offensive line. And Cobb picked up the yardage for a first down. And Louis Oliver, who's a big hitter, walks off a little bit of a problem right now. His reputation in the league is growing quite rapidly. He's the same type defensive back as Ronnie Lott, and everybody knows how he likes to go after people.
Oliver had to take himself out of the game there after that collision. That brings Mike Iaquinello in. In his place, number 48. Rookie from Michigan State. Testaverde on play action. And he is dropped. Chuck Klingbeil, who had already been knocked down by the blockers, managed to reach out with a big paw and make a sack.
Well, Klingbeil, the book on him, Tim, though, is he's one of these guys who's a dogged type player who just doesn't give up. Number 99, you can see him right on the nose with the center breaking down that block. Just keeps coming. Testaverde steps out of there, and Klingbeil steps out to make the sack, only because of his dogged determination to not ease off.
So it's second down and 13 with a 2-minute warning reached here in the first half. Miami on top by 10.
And then 15 the other way, and I believe Florida State will have a 1st and 10 at the Gator 40 when it's all over with, because personal fouls are 15-yarders, but they'll have to mark the holding first.
We have holding, 10-yard penalty on the offense. We have a dead ball, personal foul on the defense, which results in an automatic first down.
And they have spotted the ball at the 40. Boy, my math was good on that one. There's the penalty update as the Gators pick up 15 yards.
Dolphins leading 17-7. Louis Oliver has reported back into the secondary. Took himself out after a tough hit on the preceding play, or 2 plays back. Bucks ball, second down and 13. And they're at their own 44. Cobb in motion. Testaverde runs out of time and sacked again. T.J. Turner, number 95, 4-year man, 6-year man out of Houston. 3rd sack by the Dolphins in this first half.
T.J. Turner has been a steady player for the Dolphins all year, Tim. He's the kind of a guy who just doesn't come out and just sparkle and do outstanding things, but he's steady enough where he sets up plays for other players. This time, he breaks down his man and comes up with a key sack. Good range, 6'4", 280, very quick. Of course, he's working against Rob Taylor, the right tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, if he has The shortcoming he has probably would be on the pass coverage area. He's a pretty good run blocker. On pass protection, he's about average.
Dolphins took the timeout. And a third down awaiting the Buccaneers, third and about 21. Well, the way things have gone for the Dolphins this year, 6-6, still hoping for a playoff spot, but battling with 4 other AFC teams. But Don Shula got his 300th victory. Injuries have been a problem, particularly on defense. Sammy Smith, of course, has been the fumble story on offense. Well, for Tampa Bay, it's been a Testaverde in and out year, to say the least. And they've given the ball up very frequently, most in the NFL. 2 victories over 2 good teams. That doesn't say too much. Testaverde going deep down the sideline for Drury. Caught it but out of bounds. Good coverage down that sideline. That's kind of Irv Cross type coverage. Don't let the guy make that catch inbounds, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, when you have 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go in the half, you better not give up a home run if you're a defensive back. And that's exactly what the Dolphins did. They played it deep and forced the Buccaneers to come up with a long incompletion.
Langford and Magruder had that coverage, forcing out. Royals punt, just got it away. Miller on the fly, holds on to the ball and has a first down for Miami at the 32, hit there by Terry Anthony. So Dan Marino, who is a good 2-minute quarterback to say the least, has got another opportunity here from their 32-yard line. Green Bay's 21-7 lead hurting the Falcons' playoff picture. Jets holding Buffalo from clinching. Look at what Cleveland's doing to sad sack Indianapolis.
Well, the story out of Indianapolis is that Venturi, who's the head coach here, might be retained next year. At least they're considering retaining him. I don't know.
Well, Mr. Irsay may have a hard time finding anybody else to go there. That might be part of the problem.
Oh, boy.
First down at the 32-yard line. 4 wide receivers in, along with Jensen out of the backfield. And Jensen has a first down, Miami, to the 42-yard line. Solomon and Fullington made the stop. And that's his specialty, 33-year-old Jim Crash Jensen out of Boston University in his 11th year. Marino, good protection, and throws one off the mark intended for Clayton. Not too often you see Marino miss by that much.
Well, I think that's a result of Clayton missing some practice time. You know, he's been out of the camp with a flu problem, and he hasn't worked out because he's been in the hospital. And that's kind of a play that you have to time up pretty sharply to be able to hit it. Marino had an option of going either to Jensen or to Clayton. He decided to pick Clayton, and Clayton sort of eased off on the route, and he overshot him.
.109 left. There's Jim Jensen. 11th round pick in 1981. Last couple of years, everybody figured there's no way he can make the team again this year, but every year he does. And he's got the ball again. First down to the 42-yard line of Tampa Bay.
Oh, boy.
Kind of reminds you of Pete Holohan. You know they're going to go to him on those situations. You can't stop him. 15-yard gain on the play.
Tampa Bay's running a 3-man line, a prevent defense. Everybody playing soft and deep. And what you have to do if you're a strong linebacker over the tight end or a back coming out of the backfield, Peters knows this very well, you have to get inside of them and not let the quarterback get that easy shot. And that look-in pattern or something like that inside is very easy to hit against zone defenses. So you must seal that off as a defensive back or linebacker, get inside of them and force that play out of there.
Now, this has been a huge weekend in Florida, certainly in the football department. A lot of important rivalries, this just being one of them. But our director, Artie Kempner, particularly likes that Florida over Florida State score because that's his alma mater, 14-9. Miami beating San Diego State. Some of the local writers here saying that ought to clinch #1 for them. Imagine Miami, Florida, Florida State, all in the top 5 teams at the very least, and I think in everybody's rankings this year. Florida A&M beating up on Bethune-Cookman, another rivalry. And in the NBA, Orlando beat Miami. Florida matchup in the NBA. So lots of fun down here for Florida sports fans. Martin hit by Jesse Solomon and driven back. He only got a couple. Dolphins in the hurry up and the Buccaneers in the slowdown. Marino, and it's caught by Jensen. He had Tony Covington draped all over him. Still held onto the ball. First down.
Well, I think you've got a great pass offense, Tim. Of course, you have a quarterback like Marino gives you lots of opportunities to make catches, but he'll put the ball where only you can catch it as a receiver. So even though the defensive back was all over the receiver, Jensen knew he had a pretty good chance of coming down with it, and he did. He did everything. He got the yardage, stopped the clock, and they're in pretty good shape here.
Dave Stoyanovich may find himself with another field goal opportunity. 31 seconds left. Intended for Duper, incomplete, but a flag down.
This is going to be pass interference on the defense.
First penalty of the afternoon here.
A big one, a costly penalty. Ricky Reynolds making contact with Duper. You'll see right here, this is okay. Bump, all right, within 5 yards. Now, you got to let him go, Ricky. Actually, he hit him more than 5 yards upfield, then he bumped him again, so he had a double shot there, and pass interference all the way on Ricky Reynolds. Automatic first down for the Miami Dolphins.
25 seconds remaining. And a first down at the 26-yard line for Tampa Bay. Four wide receivers.
I'd expect some kind of a blitz in Tampa Bay. They want to knock them out of field goal range if possible. Here it comes.
Marino gets it off for Martin, and he's got it. Touchdown. Well, like Mark Higgs, Martin redeemed himself. He dropped a couple earlier in this half and then comes up with a spectacular diving grab.
This is a great catch. This guy can fly, though, Tim. He has 4.3 speed, so he's the fastest guy on the team, and I think the Buccaneers, Carter, really didn't respect that speed. He just simply outruns him, and that is a big-time catch.
.26-yard touchdown pass, Marino to Tony Martin. Marino converted to wide receiver after coming out of Mesa College in Colorado as a Division III quarterback. Stoyanovich. And the Dolphins starting to shred the Buccaneer defense, which has been a solid defense all year long. There's a happy Dan Marino. He's headed for Martin.
That's a real nice gesture, Tim, because Martin struggled today. He dropped a few balls, and here comes Marino congratulating him. The first one down here to meet with him and say, hey, kid, great catch. We knew you could do it. That's nice.
Martin picked up on waivers last year, or in '89 rather, from the Jets, his second year in the NFL. And you can see over on the Buck sideline, Floyd Peters with a few words about the coverage with his defensive team.
Just watch this, Tim. You don't have to comment. Neither one of us have to. That's just a great catch.
So it's only halftime, and suddenly a 24-7 lead after the Buccaneers led this game early. Marino, you can see, is in some pretty good company there. They talk about the great quarterbacks, and we're happy to see Dan Fouts. And interestingly enough, Sonny Jurgensen and Johnny Unitas are former CBS commentators. Dan Fouts still with us.
Of course, Johnny Unitas, quarterback for Don Shula a long time ago, too, right?
Yep.
Girl. Yeah, I over here long.
18 seconds remains in the first half. Anderson will not bring it out. And so the Bucs from their 20-yard line have 18 seconds to try and make something happen. Green Bay still on top of Atlanta 21-7. The Jets really battling Buffalo 10-7 in the second. Cleveland beating up on Indianapolis. And we'll bring you up to date on all the scores with highlights. Greg and Terry at halftime on the NFL Today.
I wonder what Greg thinks about Marino's arm today. His quick release, he does it all. He's got the quick release. He can throw it deep. He can throw it short. He can throw it. You know, the guy just throws the football. He's amazing.
Testaverde started off well in this game, but hasn't been able to keep it going since that first drive following the Higgs fumble. And Cobb will just let the clock wind down after the run by Reggie Cobb. So that's the end of the first half. With the score, the Miami Dolphins 24, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7.
CBS Sports coverage
In Miami, where the Dolphins roared back to take a 24-7 lead after the Bucs had scored first. And this run by Mark Higgs from 19 yards out made it 17-7 in the second quarter as Higgs rolled up 103 yards in the first half on 13 carries. And then a dazzling catch on a beautiful throw from Marino. And you also like the move that Tony Martin put on Carl Carter.
That's very important to release from the line of scrimmage properly if you're a wide receiver, and he sort of came off at half, three-quarter speed and lulled the defender, Carl Carter, to sleep, and then, bang, when he put on that burst, had a full step on it.
So this could turn into a rout if the Bucs don't do something on this opening series. They do have the ball first in the second half. Gary Anderson, who has been somewhat quiet this year as such a great talent, has not been able to get it untracked. The struggling offensive line of the Buccaneers. And he untracks it here all the way out to the 42-yard line. And it was Pete Stoyanovich, the kicker, who made the tackle on him. So Anderson gives them excellent field position. In the first half, all Dolphins. After that first touchdown by the Bucs, 256 yards and 3 sacks, hurting Vinny Testaverde, and that's been a problem all year long for Tampa Bay. Testaverde 7 of 15 in the first half, and Marino 12 of 21, 151 yards, 2 scores.
Testaverde's had a couple of drops in that first half too, though, Tim.
Yes, he has.
He has to stay with it.
And he's on the target there for a first down. Lawrence Dossie to the 44-yard line of Miami. So Testaverde, who wanted to do well today here, as you might expect, University of Miami grad, and has struggled coming in, and they stay in a hurry-up offense here, a 14-yard gain, and this is what he likes. 2 tight ends are in now, Hall and Anderson. Cobb gets about 5 to the 40-yard line. Mike Reichenbach made the tackle, the linebacker number 52.
Timmy made a key point about Testaverde. Interestingly enough, but when he goes into the no-huddle offense, he feels like he has things under control. He's calling the plays he wants. The offense sort of rallies around him, and he gets a good rhythm for the game quickly, and they're moving now quite impressively.
Second and about 6. Testaverde, and that one's incomplete. Intended for Dossie. Ball hit the ground. He fielded it well, but it was a bad throw from Vinny. So third down, and that brings in a change of personnel and a new play from the sideline. Richard Williamson. Terry Anthony comes into the lineup. Anthony, number 85, an extra wide receiver, comes wide to the left. Wilson, the fullback, number 20. He's blocking for Testaverde in the shotgun on third down. And he's hit from the other side. Storming in were Turner and Griggs, both unmolested. Fourth sack.
This is the 40, actually the 3 men down. You'll see Turner's right here. Griggs is moving to the outside. But they had a little stunt where he came inside, he came out, and they broke down the offensive tackle, Rob Taylor. You'll see, here they come. Now they'll switch. And they knock him off for the sack.
Royals punt. Martin lets it roll to the 17-yard line of Miami. And we'll be back at Joe Robbie Stadium. 13-17 to go in the third. Miami 24-7. And Irv, it seems like this is a place where the strength of the Bucs, their defense, has to do the job. Otherwise, this game's going to be over soon.
Well, no question about that, Tim. The Buccaneers have lived all year long on the strength of their defense, and now they're going to be challenged. Obviously, they have to stop the Miami Dolphins here now. Not only stop them, but take the ball away if possible and score on defense. You have to get something going that way, and the defense can do it if they're on their toes.
Miami has scored in their last 4 possessions. So the Buccaneer defense has just got to rise up here if they're going to make this a game. Higgs, he's been a thorn in their side. They stop him for about a yard gain. Marty Carter coming up from safety, the rookie from Middle Tennessee State. Gain of about a yard and a half. Ball at the 20-yard line of the Dolphins. Higgs now up to 105 yards, 103 of those in the first half, with a 19-yard touchdown run.
It's really funny talking to him about his running style yesterday. He sort of smiled. He has an impish kind of a look on his face. He says, well, you know, I have a lot of power in my thighs. I'm short, but I'm strong on my thighs. Oh, boy, I guess so.
Higgs again runs into traffic once more. So the Buccaneers, who were having difficulty in the middle against Higgs in the first half, do a better job here. Dexter Manley and Jesse Solomon combining that time to stop him. And there's Dexter.
Dexter wanted so much to play on every down. Not only he thinks his greatest asset is pass rush. Now it's a pass situation. He's being taken out, and he feels that this could very well be his last year, and he wants to show as much as he possibly can. Whether the Buccaneers invite him back next year, he goes to another team. Doesn't make a lot of difference to him right now, Tim, but he wants to play.
He doesn't like it when it's 3rd and long, obvious passing downs, and he's coming out of the game. He made that comment. Marino complete to Jensen, first down, Miami. So the Buccaneers do a good job on the first 2 running downs. Maybe Manley's got a point. He thinks he's a strong pass rusher and should be out there on the passing downs.
Well, his greatest asset is pass rushing. I mean, he's never had a great reputation for playing the run very well, but he is a passer. This guy on 3rd downs is a Mr. Automatic, it almost seems, for first down plays.
Now
4 catches, 4 first downs.
It mystifies me why defenses can't stop a guy like that. I mentioned Holohan earlier with San Diego and the Rams.
Yeah.
You know, you know they're going to go to him.
Yeah.
And how they can't stop him is always a mystery to me, especially when they're not fleet-footed, either one of them. First down. Marino sidesteps McCants and connects to Edmonds, and it is inbounds. First down. What a play.
Oh, boy.
19 yards.
That was a case, Tim, where the Buccaneers had everything they wanted. McCants broke down his man, came through, put pressure on Marino, but he simply beat that pressure by himself, and there goes Edmonds, the big tight end, for the completion. Now watch him avoid the rest. He's not a scrambler, but he moves in the pocket with purpose. Him slide to one side, set up and throw. That's not a scramble, but it's great movement in the pocket.
Marino's hit his last 6 in a row, and he has the Dolphins out at the 49, bringing some sunshine through the clouds here at Joe Robbie Stadium. Good protection. Right on the money to Clayton. Dropped the ball into the end zone, and there's a flag upfield, and they also indicate he stepped out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Well, all kinds of stuff happened on that play.
Oh, boy.
A 38-yard gain it'll turn out being, and depending on the marker. Side judge ruled he stepped out.
Holding, 29 defense, it's declined.
Reynolds,
First down.
Reynolds charged with defensive holding, and the Dolphins naturally decline.
The key here, though, Tim, is the pass. Marino's reading the free safety all the way. When the safety bites to the left, you'll see that. Then he goes outside. Now, here's his man open, number 83, Mark Clayton, they've done it so often, they make it look pretty easy. And poor Reynolds is trying to make up for it after being beaten on the pattern.
So it's a first down, Dolphins at the 14-yard line, threatening to turn this into a rout. Right on the money to Edmonds, and he breaks 2 tackles. Another 9 yards to the 4-yard line. Covington pushed him out. Well, Marino with that pass to Clayton over the 3,000-yard mark for the 8th time in his career, and he's the only NFL quarterback to do that.
Boy, I tell you, he's really impressive. I've seen him quite a bit over the years, Tim, and it seems like he just continues to get better and better, if that's possible. I mean, he's such a great quarterback. But he's razor sharp today. But again, he's reading defenses and taking what the defense gives him. It's an old adage you hear all the time, but that's why his completion percentage is so high. He sees a linebacker fly out of there and he hits the vacant area. He sees a safety man fly out of there and he hits the vacant area. It's pitch and catch.
And it's incomplete. Intended for Edmonds. And it was Frizzell, William Frizzell, number 33, who had the coverage and did a good job on Edmonds that time.
Real good job, Tim, because it's a play-action pass. They faked run first, and Frizzell could very well have found himself coming up to the line of scrimmage and play run, but instead he stays off of it and picks up the tight end coming out and makes a terrific play.
Herb, you must remember back in '83 when they drafted Marino, number 1 out of the University of Pittsburgh. There were a lot of skeptics about his ability to become an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I didn't think he was really tough. They thought he might have some problems off the field and a whole lot of things, but none of that has arisen. This guy is a great football player.
Well, blasting through came Eugene Marr, who sees little playing time these days since Solomon took over in the middle. But Marv came firing through to stop Higgs for a loss. And it's 4th down. Stoyanovich comes on.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a goal line type defense. Marv really standing up in the, I call like a 44 position. Came off tackle and made that play. But again, Tampa's defense has to feel a lot of pressure at them. They have to force something big in a hurry.
Stoyanovich, 24-yard field goal. And the Dolphins only get 3, but another impressive drive and a 27-7 lead.
Space, they make the tackles themselves. Usually they sacrifice their bodies for their linebackers to make the tackle. Culpepper and McCoy, the 2-star tackles, head-to-head, nose-to-nose, and the Seminoles are shut down on the 3rd down conversion.
Boy, will the Gators miss those seniors next year. Here's Scott Player under pressure, gets it away. He's been kicking extremely well. Monty Duncan runs a long way, watches it hit the 28. He picks it up at the 20, looking for a little seam and fights his way up to about the 27-yard line. So Duncan gets about a 7 or 8 yard return on a 60-yard punt by Scott Player. So the punters continue to be perhaps the most impressive players on the field today.
Well, of course, the defense believes the punters belongs to them.
Tim Ryan and Irv Cross here at Joe Robbie Stadium. 8:40 to go in the 3rd, a 24-yard field goal by Pete Stoyanovich. But more significantly for the Dolphins, 75-yard drive in 9 plays, 4:37 off the clock. Now they have scored on each of their last 5 possessions. The Buccaneers defense, the strength of their otherwise struggling team, has just not been able to stop Marino and company today.
When that happens to a team, Tim, when the strong part of your team breaks down like that, it's really demoralizing. You figure, well, gee whiz, they're taking out our best shot. What can we do about it? And sometimes it causes you to panic a little bit.
Anderson from the 6. Another good return, but a loose ball. Dolphins have it at the 35. No flags and apparently no whistles. Anderson coughing it up after a good return. And Miami will have the football at the 35-yard line of Tampa Bay. What more can happen to Richard Williamson and his Buccaneers?
Gary Anderson is a sure-handed ball carrier. Again, He's in traffic, protecting the ball. Actually, Jim, it's kind of hard to tell if that ball came out after he hit the ground or as he was going down. But as he was going down, a couple of the Dolphins just tried to force the ball out of there, and they did. He ripped it out of his arms.
Mike Magruder recovered it, but it was Mike Iaquinello, the rookie from Michigan State, who stripped it. And now it looks like replay is getting into it.
Yeah, they wanted to see if he hit the ground before the ball came out. It looked like his back was on the ground as the ball came out. If that were the case, it would not be a fumble.
It was ruled a Tampa fumble, Miami recovery. The play is being reviewed.
So he has a good grip on the ball. Now he's going to hit traffic here. Now he's going to cover the ball to protect himself here. Here comes the first collision. Hang on to the ball. Iaquinello's in there trying to force it out. Now he goes down to the ground. The question is, when did the ball come out of there? I think it might have come out after he hit the ground, Tim. Now he's going down. Protecting football. All right. Iaquinello's wrestling with it right there now. Does it come out? Yes, out. It's out. It's out. It's out. He had lost control of it before he hit the ground. I think they should rule fumble on this.
Well, Gary Anderson hopes they don't.
Review, the play stands.
But they do.
First down, Miami.
That's what we saw, too. But it's one of those plays, though, where the defense just simply took the ball away. You talk about protecting the football, not having fumbles. Sometimes you can't help it. If a defensive team decides they want to take the ball out of your arms, a lot of times they can do it.
So Marino, 16 of 26, 2 touchdowns, has a first down at the 35. Higgs. Explosive speed to the 16-yard line. And now for an NFL report. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, in Atlanta, quarterback Chris Miller, who didn't start this game because of 103-degree temperature, has started the second half and engineered a touchdown drive for the Falcons. Steve Broussard finishing it off with a 3-yard touchdown run. Falcons are within a TD of Green Bay in the third quarter, Tim.
Well, interesting developments in Atlanta. Wasn't aware that Miller hadn't started. He's their main man, replacing Billy Joe Tolliver. That could change that complexion down there a lot. Higgs a nail by Manley.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, Lello is right. The Buccaneers have a line charge. It's a very aggressive charge. In some terminology, teams call it a jet charge. Now, what happens is the defensive lineman will get down in their stance, and they get into a sprinter stance. And as soon as the ball is snapped, here's Manley out here, out wide on the tackle. As soon as the ball is snapped, you come and penetrate. Watch this play develop. Higgs didn't know what happened until he was hit.
Buffalo has gone ahead of New York, 17-10. Dolphins fans particularly interested in that. Second down, 14. Little swing quickly out for Sammy Smith, and Smith is close to a first down. Talk about sneaking out of the backfield. Sammy Smith just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and he was wide open in the secondary. We're at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, where the Buccaneers are trailing the Dolphins 27-7, and Miami is moving it again, following a Gary Anderson fumble on the kickoff return. Tim Ryan and Irv Cross here with the Dolphins at the 9-yard line, 3rd down and 2.
Tim, with Sammy Smith's fumble problems, Coach Shula might have found a new combination here that really works. Mark Higgs on the runs, Smith to come in as an occasional receiver once in a while, and an occasional runner, but Higgs has been red hot.
Higgs to the 5. Marty Carter, the safety, with the tackle.
Interesting enough, Tim, talking to Higgs again about his running style, I said, would you prefer grass or AstroTurf? He said, well, now, I like grass. I hurt my knee on turf a long time ago in college. He said, but I can cut a lot better on grass. I'm low. People can't see me. I have a low center of gravity and have real quick cuts on grass. And, boy, we've seen a great example of it today.
122 yards on 19 carries. Still 5.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Higgs the lone setback.
218!
Manley again, and Broderick Thomas with the hit, but Manley driving the blocker Mark Dennis right back into the play. Dexter may be right. Maybe he ought to be out there longer. More plays.
You know, he hasn't played the run, traditionally hasn't played the run that well as a pro, but today he really is. He's giving it everything he has because, again, he told us last night, this may well be, my chance to really shine because I don't know where I'm going to be next year. Here again, just beating Mark Dennis, the right tackle, taking him upfield. Again, the technique the Buccaneers use is get off the ball, penetrate, and drive upfield. Man, he's doing that today.
Second down, Dolphins. Marino, quick drop and quick hit to Duper. Reynolds throws him out of bounds. And he got about 5 on the play. They're going to spot it at the 2-yard line of the Buccaneers. Richard Williamson, if he sees another 6 go up here, is going to have to face the reality of yet another Buccaneer defeat. Now, Marino.
He wants to go. He's ready.
Boy, I tell you, he's not intimidated by Don Shula. I thought Shula intimidated everybody. 3rd and goal. Well, they're not going to get it off. 4 seconds on the clock, and the Dolphins take a timeout rather than risk having themselves backed up for delay of game. And an angry Marino heads to the sideline.
Back Floyd, and he's got it. William Floyd from St. Pete Lakewood barrels ahead for a yard to the 24, and that's enough for the Florida State first down. There you see big William Floyd, 6'2", 229. He's 3rd on their depth chart.
But Marino was not happy at all with the coaching staff, and he let him know it as he had to take a timeout there to get this play sorted out on 3rd and goal. He didn't want to take a delay penalty. He went stomping over there and got it right in the face of Gary Stevens, the offensive coach, and head coach Don Shula. Roll out, and he's hit. Is that a fumble? Is he downed? McCants put the hit on him, and they're going to call it down. Boy, I tell you, you could make a case for a couple of things there. I mean, he looked like he might have had kind of a sidearm throwing motion, which would make it incomplete. Let's see where they mark it.
Yeah, McCants comes through scot-free here. His job was to control. Well, he throws it. He does throw it. He realizes in trouble, and he just came up and threw the ball right away. But Keith McCants, the defensive end on that side of the field, was responsible for containment, and by golly, did he ever.
Incomplete pass, and a good ruling on that. But obviously not a great play that afternoon. Marino was obviously right. He should have gone with the one he had ready on the previous down. Stojanovic has a field goal from 19 yards out, and the Dolphins had 3 more to make it 30-7. 3:45 still to play in the 3rd quarter.
It is just about even now. I mean, that's as even as it gets. 6 for 60, 6 for 61, and Florida State outside the Gator 21. They need to get inside the 14-yard line for a first down. On 3rd down, Weldon under pressure, throws it right side, making the catch, McCorvey. And he has run out of bounds, but Kez McCorvey has the first down at the 11-yard line. And again, Casey Weldon completes a pass under tremendous pressure.
How does he do it? He's a magician.
Tim Ryan and Irv Cross back here at Joe Robbie Stadium. The sun is shining on the Dolphins and on this man about to kick off. He has kicked 3 field goals so far, and the Dolphins have a 30-7 lead. 3:45 still to go in the 3rd quarter. The only problems Stojanovic has had today is getting the ball teed up the way he wants it.
Remember the last kickoff return, Tim, Gary Anderson had a good return up around the 30-35-yard line, and the Dolphins ripped the ball out of his arms. He's a pretty sure-handed ball carrier and very seldom fumbles, and we'll see how he responds.
5 yards deep. He won't bring it out. That is one way to avoid the fumble. Well, in the wild card picture in the NFC, still much to be decided. Look at the list of teams still involved. Minnesota down there at the bottom, mathematically alive at 6-7, but they've got a very tough schedule ahead.
Well, it looks like a fairly easy schedule, really. They've got.
Oh, right, sure.
Yeah,
sorry.
Just the other way. So they have the softest schedule of the wild card teams here. But again, you never know. Shula told us the other day it's not so much what the overall record is of a team, but rather it's how well they're playing when you play them.
Now, later today, the teams involved include the Giants, Washington, New Orleans, and Those are big games for them. All ahead here on our doubleheader action on CBS Sports. Testaverde on first down. Pumps once and then finds the tight end Hall. Forward progress will give him close to a 6-yard gain. Yeah, Minnesota with the records of the teams remaining most favorable to them, but they're at 6 and 7, so they're very much a long shot with all of those teams ahead of them in the wild card hunt. 2nd down and 3. Gets some time, and Dossie drops it. A rare drop by the rookie. Had the linebacker Reichenbach chasing him, but he was free of him, just dropped the ball.
One of the things that the Miami Dolphins do defensively is their feeling is that you bend but don't break. Give them the short stuff, not the long ones. Make them go in 20, 25 plays to score. And somewhere along the line, the offense will make a mistake. And that's what they mean. A short pass should have been completed. Dropped it.
3rd down and 3. And this time Dossie looked like the same route. Comes up with the grab and a first down Tampa Bay to the 35. Cornerback Chris Green made the tackle. Number 42 comes in that 4-7 alignment. And again, the no-huddle offense for the Buccaneers. Testaverde for Dossie, and it's intercepted. Flag on the play. Chris Green, the rookie from Illinois, but he maybe had already interfered with Dossie before the ball came into his hands.
Real close play. They're both making a play on the ball, but Chris Green had inside position on Dossie.
Holding. 42 defense. First down.
They're going to call him for holding, but we'll take a look at it on the replay to see what kind of position he was in. But number 42, Chris Green, on the far end of your screen here, picks up Dossie coming inside. Now, boy, he has his hand on his back. That's what they probably called. His right arm was wrapped around his back. The front side where he batted the ball up was okay, but he had his arm around his back. That's holding.
So first down for the Buccaneers at their 40-yard line. Draw play. Reggie Cobb gets about 4. And the tackle made by Jeff Cross. Cross bothered with a groin and calf injuries, but continuing to play well up front for the Dolphins, number 91 out of Missouri.
Got a story about Jeff Cross. We'll come back to it in a minute, Tim.
Down at 7 and intended for Dossie, overthrown. Dossie trying to shake loose from Bestie Jackson.
With Jeff Cross the other day, we're in the locker room of the Miami Dolphins talking to players and getting ready for the broadcast, and he grabbed me and grabbed one of the equipment people in the locker room and said, "Here, take our picture." So we stood there. He draped his big arm around me. We took our picture. I said, "What's that for?" He said, "Well, my mom and dad are big Irv Cross fans." I said, "You think there might be a tie here somewhere that we could be distantly related?" He says, "I don't know." So I got relatives all over the place. Guy's playing pretty well.
So some distant cousin probably.
Who knows? I don't know.
3rd down and still 7 for the Bucs. Intended for Mark Carrier, and the coverage there was too tight. Bobby Harden, number 45. That was a tough pass to make. So it's 4th down. The Dolphins hold again, and the Bucs fail to keep a drive going. Mark Royals to the 30-yard line for the punt, and back to receive Scott Miller. He's standing at the Dolphins 16. And Miller gets to the 28 of Miami, where he runs into a roadblock led by Darrell Fullington. So apart from that opening drive by the Buccaneers after the fumble by Mark Higgs, they've been unable to do anything on offense. And this has become kind of a typical season, unfortunately, for Buccaneer fans. A .294 win percentage since 1976, and that puts them in number 1 ahead of the worst teams in all of the major sports.
You know, when you look at the record, I didn't realize that, 10 losses consecutive. I guess 9 years in a row they've lost 10 games, and you wonder when the turnaround is going to take place.
Tony Page gets a carry. He gets about a yard. Well, you have to have a seamstress in the NFL these days. That's Farrell Edmonds' uniform, apparently.
Big tight end. They call him Tree. I guess they were sewing up the tree trunk.
Yeah, I guess he just exploded out of those pants, and you got to have a lot of skills to be on the staff of an NFL team these days. Equipment staff down there, they have to be able to do a little sewing as well. 368 yards of offense now against only 110 for the Bucs. Second down and 8. And Marino finds Mark Duper for another Dolphin first down. Marty Carter and Roger Jones had the double coverage. It didn't matter. 14 yards.
Part of the problem you have in trying to defend Marino, Tim, is that at this stage of a game, most defensive teams will say, okay, put pressure on the quarterback. Let's blitz a red dog. Try to knock him down, throw him for losses, take the ball away. But Marino, first of all, gets good protection. Secondly, when the protection breaks down, he's so quick with his delivery, he can beat the blitz with his arm. It's very frustrating.
Kick. About 3. Dexter Nichols, number 77, and Tony Covington, number 25, on the tackle. And so that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Miami 30, Tampa Bay 7. Our coverage continues after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Right side. Matt Fryer catches it at the 42-yard line. It'll be a gain of 6, and Florida State will have second down and 4 at their own 42-yard line when we return for the final 15 minutes of the annual Florida State Showdown. The Gators lead by 11 heading to the 4th.
Cross here in Miami, Florida, 30-7 beginning the fourth quarter. Hard to believe that the Buccaneers actually were in front in this game, but they were. It followed a miscue by Mark Higgs dropping the ball after a good run. And since that time, it's been all Miami. Marino intended for Duper, and it looked like he got tangled up with Reynolds. And it's incomplete. The Marks brothers, you saw them there together, Duper and Clayton. Tampa Bay, as we said, actually led in the ball game with Reggie Cobb's 1-yard touchdown run. A very impressive drive the first time they had the ball following the Higgs fumble. But then 24 unanswered points by Miami in the second quarter. 5 consecutive possessions in which they scored. 3 field goals by Pete Stoyanovich. And Marino, 18 of 29, make it 18 of 30 now. 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. Third down and 8. Flags everywhere as the Buccaneers came flying in on Marino. Perhaps prematurely, unless they were drawn.
Offside. 51. Defense. Still third down.
Yeah, Thomas is way ahead of the snap. And again, that's just all part of the feeling you get on defense. You want to get something started. You're anxious to get to Marino and simply jump the gun.
Bucks have Dexter Nichols in at tackle, number 77, 5-year man out of Florida State. Giving Newton a rest, Tim Newton. Third down and a long 2. Jensen can't hold on to that one. Solomon, the linebacker, chasing him. And so the Bucks are able to stop the Dolphins. And Jesse Solomon and Jensen have a few words and a push.
Well, Solomon's a pretty animated football player, but he does a real good job here covering Jensen. But this should have been a ball that should have been caught. I mean, you very seldom see him drop a ball like that.
So Reggie Roby, only his second punt of the afternoon. Drury waiting for it at the 10. Fair catch signal, and it's going to bounce down at the 2-yard line. A smile to the face of Reggie Roby, and Chris Green, the rookie, covered it there. 51-yard punt. Tim Ryan and Irv Cross, and this is a quick look at what's happened here so far. Until that last stoppage by the Bucs, the Dolphins have scored on 6 consecutive possessions. Mark Higgs, a great day on the ground, 122 yards rushing, and Dan Marino into the record book with his 8th 3,000-yard season. And we've still got 14:39 to play. Testaverde having to start from his 2-yard line following Roby's brilliant punt. Reggie Cobb flipped up over the top and got a couple. Well, for another NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, in Atlanta, the Mike Tomczak to Sterling Sharp combo clicks for the second time today. First play of the fourth quarter, 20-yard touchdown pass, and Green Bay's lead is again 2 touchdowns over Atlanta, 28-14, Tim.
All right, well, thank you, Greg. Here in Miami, it's been all Dolphins, and they've got the Bucs pinned up in their own end. Cobb, good running. Good hole in the middle behind Mayberry, Beckles, and McHale. Reichenbach and Griggs made the stop.
It was Bobby Monica, the equipment manager for the Dolphins, doing a tape job on Farrell Edmonds' old big tree. But Monica last week received a game ball from the Dolphins after their victory over the Bears because the players painted such a great job packing their bags with thermal wear and other things they needed to win that ball game. They're quite excited about his efforts and that big win for them.
The cold weather in Chicago, not exactly Dolphin weather. Cobb bounces off the tackler and picks up about 3 on first down, breaking away from rookie Brian Cox and then being nailed by Griggs, the other linebacker. Well, they should have given a game ball to Jensen then, because he's the guy who came up with a cayenne pepper for everybody. He claims that old Alaskan fisherman's trick did the job for the Dolphins as much as Bobby Monica did.
Well, but Monica doesn't believe in that stuff. He says, that's voodoo, he says. I believe in facts. You know, I'm going scientifically with my team.
Thermal underwear, you bet. Second down at 6. Ron Hall, and reaching out, may have the first down. Hauling Vesty Jackson with him. Good effort by Hall, the tight end, and a good pass from Testaverde.
It's really funny, at this stage of the game, when you're down like this, you have a tendency to say, let's scrap what we do best and just go ahead and throw the ball on every down, but you really can't. You have to have a balanced approach to be able to move the football. But, you know, so Hall obviously going to be a key guy because he's one of Testaverde's key receivers, but he has to get deep to Dossie or Carrier to try to break this thing open for them to come back.
First down, Bucs. Hall again, dropped by the linebacker, Cliff Odom, number 93, but he got about 4 on the play. And Testaverde's done a good job, along with the running back Cobb, to bring out the Buccaneers from their 2. Now breathing room at the 27.
I asked Testaverde the other day what he thought he did best as the quarterback. He looked at me and shrugged his shoulders and says, I don't know. And really what he was saying is that he's been up and down and things haven't quite gone the way he'd like them to go. And all he can do is be persistent, stay with it, keep working at it, and things will eventually come together.
On the run, he hits Ron Hall. Big play there. First down, Buccaneers. To the 47-yard line. Brian Cox and Lewis Oliver pull down the big tight end. But again, Testaverde throwing well on the run.
Little rollout. You can see Hall, the tight end, he really comes all the way across field to pick up this play. Then he fakes the ball here and rolls out. The key here, though, is that the man on the line has to contain this play, but he gets caught inside. Now, here comes Vinny, plenty of time, because the linebacker on the outside, Griggs, took a false step. Hall comes through cleanly for the completion.
Good play by the Buccaneers. First down to their 45. Wilson, the fullback, shifts off the wing. And it's complete to Anthony for another Buccaneer first down. Well, I guess you have to ask the question, how much does the score of 30-7 have to do with the sudden lapse by the Dolphins here? On the other hand, giving credit to Testaverde from bringing them all away from the 2.
I think it has a lot to do with it, Tim. What happens is you play your normal defenses, the defense they've been playing all game long, which has been very effective for them. But when you have this much of a cushion, you say, well, they complete a pass, it's not going to hurt us. I mean, you ought to think, stop it. But if they complete passes, even if they score, you don't feel as much pressure as you would if you're in a closer game.
Whoop, miscue there, and it's intercepted. Lewis Oliver, a miscue on the route, evidently. Reggie Cobb, I believe, the intended receiver. He was deep along with Dossie, the rookie wide receiver. That's what happens to the Bucs.
Oh, boy, I tell you. But it might have been Carrier also involved in that, too, Tim. 88, he's running a deep post pattern inside. He thought somebody was going to break to the outside.
Well, that picture tells it all.
It sure does.
The only guy near the ball was a Miami Dolphin.
What?
We'll be back at Joe Robbie Stadium in a moment. Tim Ryan with Irv Cross here in Miami, where Lewis Oliver has just intercepted Vinny Testaverde to give the Dolphins the ball at their own 20-yard line. A miscue on the route, another Buccaneer mistake. Higgs gets about a yard, maybe a yard and a half before he's hit by Tony Covington, the rookie from Virginia. Well, Miami seems to have this one well in hand, and that would give them a 7-6 mark. You see, there are 4 teams ahead of them in this wild card race, but Miami with a good schedule. At least that's how it appears to all of the rest of us. Don Shula saying, you know, you can't count that you're going to win against the weaker teams just because they're in front of you. And meanwhile, Buffalo and the Jets, of course, that affects that wild card and the division title picture, and the Bills on top of the Jets, 17-13. Higgs dropped for a yard loss. And Dexter Manley has been playing a fine game against the run. And as you point out, that's not what he was known for in his great days in Washington. He's really a pass rusher.
But Tim, you know, Brighini told us last night that with Dexter Manley, when he was in Washington, that their responsibility was to control the offensive lineman at the line of scrimmage, read, and then go. But in this defense, the first step should be upfield. And he's beginning to get a feeling for that now. He likes that. You know, he did that on his pass rush. On a running game now, he's gotten to the point where he feels that sense of explosion, and he's been really effective today.
He doesn't like coming out on the passing downs, and he said so. Burt Widener's come in at right guard for Harry Galbraith for the Miami Dolphins. Widener, number 60. Marino, deep sideline, right on the money to Martin. And a diving tackle by Roger Jones, the rookie from Tennessee State, saving the touchdown, but giving up the reception.
You said a mouthful, Tim, the rookie from Tennessee State. And I think Miami saw a rookie sitting out there, and they said, okay, let's challenge him and see what he has. Tony Martin, number 89, the fastest man on this Dolphin team. This goes on a fly pattern. You can't see him in your screen now, but when you do see him, he's going full bore. And number 24, Roger Jones, just can't keep up with him. Here he makes a diving effort to prevent a touchdown, but that's a big play.
Martin already with a brilliant touchdown catch earlier after a couple of drops. A 50-yard gain. Higgs worms his way for about 9 yards. Roger Jones made the tackle, so the Bucs giving the rookie from Tennessee State a shot in Carl Carter's position at the right corner.
Tim, you wonder why a back like his can be so effective. Again, he's short, 195 pounds, stocky guy, very powerful. When you hit him, you were hitting helmet and shoulder pads. That's all you see. And every once in a while, you'll hit knees. But he's well protected because he's down in a crouch when he makes contact with the defensive people, and he delivers quite a blow.
Now, nearly 200 pounds, like Barry Sanders, he is short but not small. Second down and 3. Higgs again, and runs into Jesse Solomon that time, who drops him after a gain of a yard. It'll leave third and about 1.
I wonder what Thomas and Marino were talking about.
Well, you know, Broderick, he can move that mouth a little bit. Reuben Davis is the injured Buccaneer player. number 79, and he is hurt. Reuben Davis, the 4-year man from North Carolina, kind of the quiet guy in the middle of that line, a solid player game in and game out. Hope he's all right. Let's take this time out and go to Greg Gumbel in New York for an NFL update.
All right, Tim, in Atlanta, Chris Miller trying to rally the Falcons. This 20-yarder to Andre Rison pulls Atlanta to within a touchdown. Miller 6 of 9 for 94 yards. And that touchdown since he's come on in the second half. It's 28-21 Green Bay with 9.5 still to play in the fourth quarter, Tim.
Oh, Chris Miller must have found some good aspirin there, Greg, because he looks like maybe he should have started the game.
Boy,
he's playing.
Yeah, that flu bug is going all over the country, though. You know, Clayton was hit with it here in Miami. Of course, Miller is having his problem. And take a look. We're just not talking about with Higgs, number 21, coming upfield.
And Reuben Davis
behind him.
Yeah.
Gets hit, yeah.
Took a shot. Looks like he got hit right on the thigh.
Yeah. They were working on his knee at one time, Tim. Looks like they're still concentrating on that area. But it's always a good sign when they can get up and stand up on it.
So Davis trying to get off under his own power. And gets a hand from the Miami crowd here at Joe Robbie Stadium. That'll bring in Rhett Hall, number 91, a rookie from California. Well, don't forget, we've got a full day of NFL action here on CBS. Doubleheader game action features the Giants at Cincinnati, the Redskins at the Rams, big one for Washington trying to clinch, and New Orleans trying to do the same thing. That's all ahead following our coverage of the Dolphins and the Bucs. You'll be seeing one of those games. Third down and a yard. Dolphins at the 21 of Tampa Bay. Sammy Smith, and he gets the first down. Well, Irv, it seems like it's the right thing to do and the wise thing to do for Don Shula to give Sammy Smith some time today despite the big game that Mark Higgs is having.
Now, one of the things he wants to do is keep Sammy Smith's spirits high. You bench a great athlete. He's been a top-flight athlete all of his career. Now, here he is in the pros struggling, but Don Shula knows full well he doesn't want to take that spark away from him, that competitive drive. And one thing you have to do is give him a chance to play and play through his problems. And I talked to Sammy yesterday. He's not worried about his fumbling. He's concerned about his fumbling, but he says, if I worry about that, it'll hurt my running style. I have to be myself and just go ahead and let it go.
So first down, Dolphins threatening again, and Smith breaks a couple of tackles and then gets straightened up by 5 Bucks after a gain of about 4 yards at the 15-yard line.
The big issue, again, every time he carries the football is whether or not he's protecting it in traffic. Now, number 33, Smith, comes in here again, cradling the ball. He wants to get that ball away from the tacklers if at all possible. And he's trying to protect it. He's got his shoulder down there. He's trying to make contact with the tackler, and that's the way you do it. But unfortunately, when you have the reputation of being a fumbler, the defense makes an extra added effort to get to the ball.
Yeah, you saw Ricky Reynolds. Reynolds gave it a forearm shiver there, trying to get it loose. Second down and 7. Long 6 will make it. Smith again trying to get wide, cuts it back. And gets about 2. And a flag down on the play. Jesse Solomon there, and it's a holding call against the Dolphins.
The timing on that play wasn't quite the way they wanted. It was a counter play where Smith took a step to his left and came back across to the right. And the idea is to try to get that defense to flow against it. And it didn't quite time up properly.
Oh, my, look at that. Atlanta's tied it up. And Buffalo and the Jets in a real struggle. That's a big game for both teams. And Cleveland has waxed Indianapolis, shut them out 31-0. And the Browns keep their slender playoff hopes alive.
We have at least one Cleveland fan in the stadium. We don't have to identify that person. Our producer.
I picked up a cute thing in the paper about Bill Belichick, their coach. I guess they had a new baby, and somebody said, how's the new baby doing? He said, day to day.
Day to day.
Just the way coaches talk about their injured players, and you ask them how they're doing during the course of the week. Sammy Smith Gets about 5 down to the 16-yard line. Well, let's find out from Greg Gumbel how the Falcons tied up that game against Green Bay.
Well, Tim will show you on the kickoff. Green Bay's Charles Wilson will lose the handle, and Atlanta's Joe Fishback picks it up, returns at 17 yards, 2 touchdowns in 11 seconds. Atlanta's playoff hopes are flying, Tim, 28 apiece in the fourth.
Well, Packers, Greg, a team that shoots themselves in their feet consistently like the Buccaneers do. At 3-9, it looks like they could blow another one, and that's been their story all season long.
We're talking about that fumble story. You saw what happened in that game. The kick returner coming up, and the tackler, instead of going for the tackle, swatted the ball out of his hand, and Atlanta came up with an easy 6.
Tony Page, he gets a couple inside the 15-yard line. It'll bring on Pete Stoyanovich for his 4th field goal try of the day. He's 3 for 3. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Miami Dolphins, and the NFL is prohibited. Get those cards and letters in there if you want to get permission. Pete Stoyanovich is 3 for 3 in this department. This time from the 21-yard line. Officially, it'll be a 30-yard try as the spot is inside the 21. And he's got it. Pete Stoyanovich, number 4 on the day, and a 33-7 Dolphin lead over Tampa Bay. 3:38 remaining. This is just the way it's gone all season long. What more can you say for that man? It's been a struggle, and there's continuing speculation that he won't be invited back, although owner Hugh Culverhouse says nothing's going to happen till the end of the season, and continues to deny the Bill Parcells rumors. Pete Stoyanovich, in his 3rd year, will kick it off, and this is his best day, Irv, kicking field goals for the Dolphins in terms of numbers. 4 on the day, and that's a personal best as a Miami Dolphin. I want to come back to your conversation with Mr. Culverhouse. Anderson out to the 23-yard line, where Ned Bolkar makes the tackle. Well, next Saturday, as first down for the Buccaneers at the 23-yard line. Down 33-7, 3:28 to go. Screen pass, Anderson. And Anderson, good running. First down out to the 37-yard line. Irv, tell us about what Mr. Culverhouse's update is on the Bill Parcells rumors.
Well, I talked to him on the sideline today during the pregame warm-up, but he said that there's no validity to those rumors. Williamson is my man. I talk to him all the time. He and I are very close in this situation, and if anything were to happen, he would be the first to know. He said, I just told Richard, he said today, that stay the course, stay focused, and what we're looking for is improvement, and he'll make a decision when the season's over. But as far as Parcells or anybody else is concerned, he hasn't made any contact with him, hasn't talked to him. As a matter of fact, he said some friends of his out in Los Angeles have said that they've heard the same rumors in L.A. that Parcells may wind up being the head coach of the Rams.
And that is the way it goes. Testaverde trying to get it downfield. A carrier, J.B. Brown, broke it up. And it'll be second down.
One of the points that Mr. Culverhouse made with me, though, Tim, too, is that they have 23 players in their roster in Tampa Bay with 2 years or less experience and 11 rookies, and he's well aware of that. And any decision he makes will keep those factors in perspective.
Testaverde hits Dossie, and Dossie has the first down at the 45-yard line. Lewis Oliver on the tackle. A Florida player, Oliver, tackling a Florida Stater. They had, I'm sure, made a little contact with each other in the past few years.
I guess so. Of course, Dossie, the #1 pick, is a rookie with a lot of talent. This guy you can build a franchise around. He's a game breaker and just seems to make a lot of big plays inside and has a tremendous heart and drive. He's the kind of player, Tim, with the temperament that other players rally around. You know, he rises the team. He raises the team.
Definitely a blue chip player. Keith Sims has got his hat on instead of his helmet. He's through for the day. Don't forget, next we've got a big one, the Giants at Cincinnati. The Giants need that for their playoff hopes. Washington still trying to clinch. They'll be at the Rams. And New Orleans at San Francisco. The Saints, with a little help over there in Atlanta, could be the winners in the NFC West at the end of the day. They need to beat the 49ers. They need a victory by Green Bay over Atlanta. First down at the 45. Buccaneers in Miami territory. They haven't been here too often. Our carrier, good catch in the first down at the 27-yard line. Hit there by Mike Iaquinello, rookie from Michigan State, number 48.
If Testaverde had his choice, he'd rather go inside routes rather than throw the ball to the outside because he's very effective throwing the ball down the field inside.
This time he hits Anderson for a gain of about 8. Gary Anderson.
Take it in.
Down to the 17-yard line, and we have reached the 2-minute warning here, and much of this stadium is now empty. We'll be right back.
Aaron Mickle again breaks through. No, was it Gaines? Mickle was in the face of Brad Johnson, but it was Gaines with his arm in the air that knocked the ball away, and the Noles, with plenty of time left, obviously, can in fact get in the end zone, but a field goal won't help them win the game.
Let's go down to the field.
Now, Don Shula not only reached 300 victories in his career, he's also become an hotelier this year. The hotel here in Miami Lakes bears his name, along with the golf club across the street. And they're going to make it over the 500 mark here this afternoon for the first time this year, and still in the playoff hunt. 29 years in pro football and the NFL, and only those guys ahead of him, Hallis, Lambeau, Tom Landry, in football, have done it any longer.
29 years and counting still, Tim. He still hasn't said anything about retirement or anything. He's still looking for the next challenge.
Second and a yard. Ball tipped. Dossie catches it in the end zone. Touchdown, but a flag on the play. Good concentration by this rookie. He is a big-time player.
That's the best way to put it, Tim. He's made a lot of catches like that. We've seen him do it any number of times. He just has great concentration, a tremendous heart, and great desire to come down with the football. That should be a Tampa Bay touchdown.
It went off the hands of Bobby Harden, the safety who became the starter when Jarvis Williams
Holding.
got hurt.
45 defense. It's declined. Touchdown is good.
And Harden is charged with the holding penalty, so it's a Buck touchdown.
Dossie's right here in the slot, and he's working one-on-one. He really does a good job beating a defensive back there. And now it's just a jump for the ball, and he keeps his eye on it, even though it changes direction. He has great concentration and comes down with the football. That's a terrific catch.
And took the hit at the goal line, held on for the score. 100 yards on the day for Dossie on 8 catches and a touchdown. Christie's point after is good. And the Buccaneers salvage something here with 1:54 to play.
Well, one of the things that Mr. Culverhouse told me, Tim, the majority owner of the club, is that we're looking for improvement. If we see signs that we're getting better, that we're on the right track, well then, we'll see what happens when the season's over. But he doesn't expect miracle things out of Coach Williamson, but he does expect the team to show some heart and some fight and be competitive and to get better from week to week. Dossie's one of these guys who you can certainly build around.
Well, it's no secret that they went after Bill Walsh, the former 49er coach, last year. The Bucs admit that they did. They didn't get him, and so far they are not admitting that they're going after Bill Parcells, and they may not be. But one has to believe that Williamson, who gets the job as a second or third choice a year ago, if things don't go well this year, that he certainly has to be in jeopardy if there's a high-profile coach out there like a Bill Parcells. So, we'll all know more at the end of the season. I respect Mr. Culverhouse for saying he's not going to say or do anything until the end of the year. That's proper respect for Richard Williamson, who's doing the best he can.
Onside kick coming up.
Christie. And it's still loose, but the Dolphins have it. Lewis Oliver Covered the ball at the Buccaneers 42-yard line.
They almost came up with it. This ball has to go 10 yards. There's on the 35. Gets a good hop. Now the second hop should be high. And actually it goes 9. It's touched by the Dolphins there. Live ball. Miami winds up recovering it.